Both Noah and Jesus were beacons of light in a dark world. Beacons, lighthouses, shining lights in a dark world. Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and this phrase just kills me every time I read it. Every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. I mean, I can't imagine that. Every inclination of his heart was only evil all the time. I mean, what a world. The Lord was grieved that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. And so the Lord said, I will wipe mankind, whom I have created, from the face of the earth, man and animals and creatures that move along the ground, and the birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Favor means grace, unmerited, undeserved kindness. He looked down in this dark world where there was only darkness and there was only wickedness all the time, and shining up right down there in that little corner in Noah's house was this little light, the light of faith, the light of trust in Noah's heart. One man who trusted him. Genesis 6:9. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked with God. Walked with God. That's always been a phrase that has just stood out to me. As you read the early pages of the Old Testament, if you can get walked with God attached to your name in the Old Testament, that's the ultimate compliment. Noah walked with God. Abraham walked with God. Moses walked with God. Enoch. Anybody know the story of Enoch? Genesis chapter 5, verse 24. Enoch, the Bible says, it's just a short little passage. Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more because God took him. God said, this guy walks with me. I'm just bringing him home. He didn't even die. He just came to heaven. I mean, walked with God. That's beautiful. Friends, that is the summation of the Christian life. To get up every day and say, I love you, Father. I can't wait to shine for you wherever I go. That is the Christian life. He walked with God. I just don't think we can make too much of that. Guys, God does extraordinary things through ordinary people who walk with him. It's not looking for the super talented. He's just looking for those that get up every day and say, God, I just want to walk with you. Remember, it's not your power that accomplishes any of this anyway. It's God's power. And God works through cracked pots. We've all heard that before, right? He does. As a matter of fact, his light shines out through cracked pots a whole lot better than perfect ones. So it's a good thing. Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. In the beginning, the very beginning of the Bible, okay? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. The King James says formless and void. This means it was chaotic. There was no structure to it. It was just this mass of disorder. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, now this is the very first command God gives. Let there be light. And there was light. That is significant because, friends, in the Bible, light is a powerful image. The imagery of light is shown throughout the Bible. Light is an image of glory. It's an image of order. It's an image of sight as compared to being blind and not being able to see. It's an image of illumination and understanding and reconciliation and bringing things that are broken and bringing them into a place of wholeness. Light it's a sign of life and grace. Darkness, on the other hand, is always an image of brokenness, lostness. When you're in the dark, you're stumbling. You can't find your way. You're confused. God, the very first thing he did was he said, we need some light. We need some life and some clarity and some order and some peace here. It's the very first thing he did. 1 John chapter 1 verse 5 says God is light, and in him there's no darkness at all. God is goodness, and in him there's nothing bad at all. God is holiness, and in him there's nothing wicked at all. God is love, and in him there's nothing hateful at all. God is order and clarity and purpose and joy. And in him there's nothing that leaves you lost and abandoned and hopeless. Noah was a beacon of light just by the way he lived. By his righteous life, he was a lamppost to his own generation just by the way he lived. He was saying this is an example of a life that knows God. This is an example of, this is what a life looks like that has peace and joy and order and hope. Why? Because I know God. Jesus was absolutely a light to a dark world, wasn't he? Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2. 700 years before Christ, and Isaiah writes these words, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned." Just keep getting the imagery that this is spiritual. Those walking in darkness, those blind. Just imagine yourself in a dark world with a bunch of obstacles around it, through it, and you're trying to stumble your way. You ever been in a completely pitch black room where you can't see anything? And you're trying to stumble your way through an unfamiliar territory and there's stuff. It's hard. Contrast that with somebody turning on a couple big fluorescent lights. That's the imagery you got to get. Jesus came into a world where people were stumbling and lost and trying to bumble their way through life, and he turned on the light. And he said, this is how you can live. I want to give you clarity. I want to help you not stumble. I want to help you avoid those things that are going to destroy your life. I want to give you hope. John 8:12. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness again, but will have the light of life. It's awesome. Understand that, friend. This isn't some spiritual thing. There's a very practical element to this. Jesus says, I want to give you light so you can see how to be a good husband. What a good husband looks like. What it means to love your wife as Christ loved the church. I want to give you teaching. I want to give you understanding, illumination, so you can know how to be a good wife. What it means to be a good employee. What it means to go through the valley of the shadow with joy, because the joy of God is with you no matter what you face. I want to give you hope for every day, because you know that your life is in my hands and I care for you and I'll be with you through the end of this life and on into eternity. Light for your life. Noah and Jesus were both sources of light in a very dark world.